Flosstube, I'm Michelle from Michelle's Romantic Tangle. It is Wednesday, June 16th, 17th, something like that. It's the middle of June and it's 2020. And I have been stitching all week. I am so in love with my cross stitch. I was really feeling burned out about the last couple weeks of mania, and then there was the migraine you saw in my last video, which in the scheme of migraines, I know that people have much worse migraines. I used to have much worse migraines, but that one sucked. I have been stitching all week, and looking back at the last video, I can't believe how much I got done this week. This is Beach Babies. If you remember last week, I had her leg and part of her pail. I've got a lot done on this. I love shading. I have said it. I will continue to say it. The fact that floss can shade and combine and create such effects, it just makes me happy. So I have, except for her hair, got most of my little girl done. Here's the picture that comes with the kit. This is an interesting one because everything off to this side is half stitches and sand. And then I've got the sign and some more sand before I get to the other two girls. So I'm not sure how my progress on this is going to go. The girl is super fun. The sand is not the most exciting, challenging thing I've ever stitched. So I may figure out, since I have gridding and I can count safely, how to hop over to the little girl in the bucket hat and work on her, and then maybe just do a strand or two of floss on the sand each time I work on it. I don't have a definite plan, but I have made so much progress, and I love this so much. Our weather is just cold and bleak and not at all summery, so it's giving me a little thought of what summer might be later. I pulled out Dutch Still Life, which is my project for the Riola Sal, which I totally abandoned, and I apologize for abandoning you guys. I did 3 or 4 hours on this. This one this week is not my friend. I really struggled the first day I pulled it back out. It took me a long time to figure out that part of the reason my thread was shredding on me so badly was because I had a tear in my nail. It wasn't a really noticeable tear, but it was enough that it kept catching on the wool thread and shredding it and making me miserable. So I did some cheese. I'm not feeling this one right now. My current stitching strategy is I am pulling out projects. I'm working on them 3 times. What I do, depending on what my week looks like and my schedule, I will work on a project for an hour or 2 and then switch to another project. And that helps keep me motivated because shading cheese I cannot see doing for hours and hours at a stretch. Unless the stitchy bug bites and convinces me that what I really, really want to do is shade cheese. That could totally happen. It has not happened this week. Also working on Flowers in a Window by Stone Street Stitchworks. I didn't bring the picture over, but this is what it looks like. There's an urn down at the bottom, and this border continues around it. I've got almost all the flowers done. The end is in sight. This has been more fun than I expected it to be. It has convinced me that I really like single color projects. And there it is. And then I pulled out Mad Bluebird. He was my first mania start, and he was out of sight, out of mind. I've done a whole bunch of shading on his belly. I love this little guy. There's actually not a whole lot of Bluebird left. Then I'm going to have to double back on his face around his eyes. When I was stitching, I somehow missed all the partial stitches around his eyeballs that I could have done when I was up here working with these colors, but I wasn't paying attention and I didn't. And I don't want to double back, so I am telling myself I will double back later and it will be fine. it won't be fine. I know it won't be fine, but if telling myself that gets me through the rest of his body and the stump he is sitting on, I'm totally all for that. That's a case where it is okay to lie to yourself. I love the Bluebird. I don't have any expectations that his fence post is going to be a whole lot of fun. But I will happily stitch away on the Bluebird until I get to the point where it becomes a little less fun. And who knows, maybe the mood will strike and stitching that fence will be super fun. Weirder things have happened in my sewing history. And my favorite thing this week. This is the key. It is one of the Stitch and Be Well freebies from Barbara Anna. Look at the dress. I wish I had a picture of where I was on this 3 days ago, because 3 days ago, I had some of the border at the bottom of the dress done. I had nothing above this point done. Look at how much I got done. Look at how pretty it is. Of course, now I've stitched all the fun part, and I don't know that the goose's face and the vine will be as much fun as the dress was, but I think I got the heavy lifting done. I love this. Animals and dresses. I love light more because it's a fox, and I love that shade of brownish gray that is her dress, but I love the patterns on this dress and the colors, and this thing has my heart going pitty-pat harder than anything else this week. I am missing 2 colors. They are probably almost definitely kitted up in another project. I thought it would be super easy just to stop at Hobby Lobby while we were running errands and get the 2 colors. Nope. They got every other color, just not the ones I needed. I've got plans for later in the week that will take me out into the world. I will go and I will look for them then. And if I get excited enough, I will dig through the projects I've kitted up and see if it is there. I'm missing the color for the goose's arms and face, of course. Can't be missing anything that's super easy to work around. This is almost enough to make me miss our old house. When we lived up in Salem, I was within walking distance of Michael's Hancock Fabric, and literally 3 blocks from my house was a full-fledged needle workshop. It wasn't a good needle workshop, but I could have gone in there. Pretty much any gentle arts colors, I think I could have gone in there and got, and I'm pretty sure she had DMC, although maybe not, because it was, like I said, not a good needle workshop. By walking distance, I mean 3 or 4 blocks. If we'd upped it to 2 miles, I would have had quilt shops and Joann's and everything else. Since we moved from that house, businesses have closed, businesses have opened. It's now 6 blocks away from Hobby Lobby and the new Joann's. I am so glad we moved out of that house, but the only selling point of that house at this point would be that it is within walking distance of Hobby Lobby and Joann's. It's not worth it. Love living in the country, but at this point, if I could go for a walk and get my floss, that would be cool. I'll work around it. I have other things to work on. So one of the things I have heard people talking about this week is why some people work on lots of projects. And that is, if there is anything in cross-stitching that is a more personal, doesn't affect anybody else's decision, and honestly, most of our cross-stitching decisions don't affect others, not even a little bit unless we get into pattern theft and some of that stuff. I like switching projects, and if I have a day when I'm going to do a lot of stitching, I will work on 3 or 4 projects, because I will work on the dress until either I get tired of counting the diamonds, or at this point it's going to be when I get tired of this one color. And then I will pick up the Bluebird and I will stitch on the shading of his belly until I get sick of trying to keep track of which brown is what and where they're going. And then I might hop over to Flowers in a Window and do white until the flowers get me a little cross-eyed. It keeps me more productive than I would be if I just stitched until I got tired of flowers and put it away till tomorrow. These are things I already had in my stash. I'm not worried about finishing anything quickly. I don't have any deadlines. It's just what I find fun. And if you find working on one great big project until you finish it fun, I'm not going to argue with you. If I get caught up in one of these, I could totally see myself getting caught up with the key and work, or Flowers in a Window, and doing that straight through till it's done. And even though I usually work on multiple projects, I'm not going to argue with myself if that's what I decide to do. Now, if you are cutting out pattern pieces for quilts, and start 15 different quilts and don't finish any of them and have piles of fabric here, there, and everywhere. Yes, I'm speaking for myself. Maybe don't do that. I got derailed in a big way, and that's life sometimes. So if you want to stitch on one project and be a monogamous stitcher, do that. I think monogamy is super great when it comes to people and romantic relationships. Stitching and quilting, not so much. But do what you want to do, and do not let anyone else convince you to do it their way, and don't spend too much brain power worrying about why other people do it a way that's not how you do it, because it's not worth it when it's just cross stitch. And it really is just cross stitch. I mean, I know you're not supposed to say that, but it is. Turn half the heel on my sock. This, if I was trying to get my knitting mojo back, this was not the sock yarn to cast on with. If I just want something to keep my fingers busy while I'm waiting for a video to process, this'll do. Did a little bit of thrifting this week so far. There has been nothing to film. We went to a shop that should have been in my video of thrift shops I avoid, but I'm not filming in there because it's a very uncomfortable place. I had been in there once before with my youngest son, who said it smelled bad and gave him a headache. I don't know what he was smelling. It's uncomfortable. They have volunteers throughout the shop sitting on folding chairs, playing with their phones. I don't know. I'm not in a hurry to get back there. But I did find this. And, oh, also nothing in there is priced. So I found this. I got it for $1. I see a whole lot of possibilities here. Whether that is going to make little dollhouse thingies and stick them in there. Ooh, now I see another possibility, because I could do really small scale and furnish these rooms, and oh my God, could you imagine this is a haunted house? Part of the original thought was stitching cross-stitch smalls in here, except the rooms are very tiny and that might not work. But if I could do this as little haunted house rooms, oh my gosh, that is totally beyond my skill level, but I plan on increasing my skill level, and it's not like it's going to go away while I'm doing that. So really the sound logical thing would be to take the dimensions, make myself a little room box, and see what I could do. This is going to be something. Don't hold your breath, because it's not going to be something anytime soon, but it's going to be something, and it was $1. If I just hang it empty on my sewing room wall for the next 20 years, it was worth $1. Thank you so much for watching. I am Michelle from Michelle's Romantic Tangle. I don't know if the upcoming week is going to have as much stitching as this week. In terms of hours, it wasn't that much, but in terms of what I got done and how much fun I had, oh my gosh, I'm so happy. I will be stitching this afternoon, and I will be back with you soon with more videos. Hopefully the thrift shops are better later this week, because they were dismal yesterday. Did get a few more books for junk journaling. I found the Mother Goose book I had as a little kid for $10, and its binding is totally gone, so all the pages are loose, and I will feel no guilt at cutting that up to play with it. Thanks again for watching. I'll be back with you again soon.